"Excuse me, you dropped this." She turned, heart pounding, breath caught in her throat, not because of the grocery bag tumbling on the wet pavement, but because of the deep voice that had just spoken those words. It belonged to a man with tired eyes and a soft smile, and beside him, holding tightly to his hand, was a little girl with the same smile. She had no idea her entire life was about to change. Before we dive into the full story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Gentle Spirit for more heartfelt, inspiring stories. Now, let's begin. It was a gray Thursday afternoon when Emily Carter, 29, found herself juggling a ripped grocery bag, a coffee in one hand, and her thoughts spiraling in every direction. Rent was due. Her job at the bookstore barely covered expenses. And worst of all, today marked 3 years since she lost her mother to cancer. She wasn't looking for love. In fact, she'd given up on it altogether. But fate doesn't knock. It sometimes spills your apples all over the sidewalk. That's when she met Daniel Rivers. Daniel was a 33-year-old single father working double shifts as a mechanic and raising his 5-year-old daughter, Maddie, on his own. His wife had passed away in a car accident 2 years ago. Since then, love had become a ghost he didn't believe in chasing. He believed in responsibility. In showing up. And when Maddie tugged his sleeve and pointed to the apples rolling across the sidewalk, he didn't hesitate to help. That's how their eyes met for the first time. Emily knelt down to pick up her bruised bananas, visibly embarrassed. "I'm so sorry, thank you," she stammered. "No worries," Daniel replied, handing her the bag. "It happens." Maddie grinned up at her. "You're pretty. Like the princess on my book." Emily laughed, really laughed, for the first time in days. They walked together to the corner cafe. "It's okay if I buy you another coffee," Daniel said. "That one's, well." He glanced at the soggy cup. It didn't survive. She hesitated, then nodded. "Only if you let me buy a cookie for your princess." One coffee. One cookie. One accidental meeting. That's how it began. They sat near the window. Emily talked about books. Daniel talked about engines. Maddie interrupted with drawings and crayon-colored butterflies. "I haven't laughed like this in a long time," Emily said softly. "Me either," Daniel admitted. The days that followed blurred into something beautiful. Daniel would stop by the bookstore when Maddie had ballet next door. Emily would bring coloring books and story time for Maddie when Daniel had late shifts. They weren't dating. They were growing. But every story has its conflict. Emily got offered a full-time job in another city, better pay, better future. And Daniel was being considered for a permanent role that might allow him to work fewer hours and be there more for Maddie. They hadn't talked about their feelings. Until the night before she was supposed to leave. It was raining. Maddie was asleep in the back seat. "I heard about the job," Daniel said, leaning against the hood of his car. "Yeah," Emily murmured, staring out at the raindrops. "It's a good offer. I think you should take it." Her chest tightened. She didn't want to go, but she couldn't stay for someone who hadn't asked her to. So she nodded. "Okay." He reached into his coat and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "Maddie wanted you to have this." Inside was a crayon drawing, a stick figure Emily, holding hands with Maddie, and a house with a heart on the roof. Emily's voice cracked. "She thinks of me as family." "She doesn't think it. She knows it." Daniel looked her in the eye. "And so do I." She stayed. Not because she gave up on her dreams, but because she found a better one. A life with meaning. A life where love shows up when you least expect it. Emily took the local job offer instead. The pay wasn't as high, but she started a kids' reading club, and soon, the bookstore was thriving. Daniel got his permanent role and finally took weekends off. They dated. Then loved. Then one spring morning, in the same cafe where it all began, Daniel knelt on one knee while Maddie held the ring box. Emily said yes. Today, Emily is not only Maddie's favorite bedtime storyteller. She's her mom. And Daniel? He's no longer the tired mechanic with a heavy heart. He's the man who picked up groceries, and picked up the pieces of a woman's heart. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Gentle Spirit. Because sometimes, the most powerful love stories begin with small, everyday moments.